Welcome to Check Your Leader TV, and today we're going to have a short post-game summary of a game of Pickett's Charge we played recently at the Caulfield RSL in Melbourne on the 4th of July. The game we are playing, we drew the scenario from the Glory Hallelujah supplement for Black Powder, but we're using Pickett's Charge rules. The scenario was Bartlett's farm. As you can see here, the table's laid out. It's dominated predominantly by a small stream that's running across the table. There's a farm area in the center of the table. Around the fields, there are snake rail fences. There's a hill on the left-hand side and a church in the center of the table. And there's various woods scattered around the edges of the table. In this scenario, the Confederates start with 4 brigades, and they're trying to quickly get across the stream and crush a isolated Union division consisting of 2 brigades. And coming to the aid of the Union troops is another division of 3 brigades. So speed is of the essence for the Confederates. They've got to get across the table quickly and crush this isolated division before the other brigades come up. The stream does not impede movement in any way, shape or form for the infantry, but it will compel them to make a disorder test to see if they become unformed crossing it. And the way that's done in Pickett's Charge is you move across the disordering terrain or the unforming terrain, and then you roll 2d6, and in the case of these troops, they're all regular troops, a 7+, and they remain formed 6 and below, and they go unformed. Okay, so let's get straight into it. All right, so what we'll do to start with, guys, you'll have 4 dice because you've got 4 brigade commanders. You'll have 2 dice. You have 2 brigade commanders. 3+, and you get your brigade. You get your staff officers.
Okay.
So you want to roll 3+. So 2 dice, rolling 3+.
Blue.
No, you just roll for them and then you allocate them as you get them.
Okay.
Well, you've got both your ADCs or staff officers, and you've got 2. That's 2 each. All right. So now it's a matter of allocating the staff officers. So both sides got 2 staff officers to help with their plans, and the Confederates had the initiative for the first turn. The Confederate plan was pretty bold. They just went hell-bent for leather straight across the stream. One of their brigades was hesitant, but the rest pushed on boldly with the idea of closing with the Union forces as quick as they can. The Yankees, for their part, they put 1 brigade in the fields with 1 battalion skirmishing forward, 2 behind the snake rail fences with a 4th battalion supporting the 2 battalions that were up in line. And the other brigade, they hunkered down on the high ground with all the guns. From that position, the artillery could have good play on the Confederates. So let's move on and see what happened. We're halfway through turn 1. We're just up to the Confederate movement. The Rebs have been quite bold. This 1st brigade on the left-hand side, they did a double quick, and they come barreling across the stream. They went 25 inches, and the rest are all just advancing. Turn 1, Union artillery fire was particularly effective. Whipped 1 unit, sent them tumbling back, disordered the mates directly behind them. They're now at the rear there, and they're feeling sad and sorry for themselves. But the Rebs on this side, they've all come across the river, and virtually all the battalions, I think, except for the exception of that one there, went unformed, crossing the stream. And a bit of desultory fire. Skirmishers caused 1 casualty there, and the guys at the breach leaders hit nothing. And now we're going to roll for ADCs for 2nd term, or staff officers. You get 1 this time, so no artillery assault this time because you haven't got enough staff officers for it. So you're going to use him probably just to roll to make sure someone doesn't go hesitant. All the hesitant markers from the last turn come off. That's all good. Now the Rebs roll for their staff officers.
So how many dice?
So you get one for each staff officer, or one per brigade. You've got one. And the other brigade has also got one. The Confederate staff officers are obviously all off enjoying some... they're having themselves a wild old time. Turn two's over. The Confederates came charging across the river. Got tossed back. They did a retire. They got out now. Another Confederate regiment charged the guns. They got completely blown away, wiped out to the man. So this brigade on the right is now officially faltering. And the rest, less we say about the Confederates shooting, the better. And so now we're up to turn 3. So pull in your ADCs. One of the reasons for the Confederate haste, because at the start of turn 2, one of the Yankee brigades arrived directly behind the church in the wooded area there. At the start of turn 3, the other 2 Yankee brigades arrived, again directly behind the church in the wooded area, but also on the rebel left flank, or the Yankee right. So by turn 3, all the Yankee brigades were on the field, and the Confederates hadn't even put a dent in the Yankee division that had been deployed at the start of the game. So things were really desperate, and they were keen to close with the Yanks and try and snatch a victory away.
Shot? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something.
So, yeah, it's all the reserve brigades have all, the ones that were off table have arrived here, here, and here. So they're all like. So you can see from this angle, the Confederate left flank is being enveloped, and it's all looking pretty grim. The Rebs really, at this stage, decided to throw all caution to the wind and just go flat out.
So Mississippi across the river, wherever they are.
What are you doing?
What? Those guys, the infantry, will fire at the same unit?
At this one?
Or is the other one, any of the others got casualties?
No, they're all fresh.
Are they hesitant? Is this brigade hesitant?
Yeah.
They can only. I don't think they can fire at long range if hesitant. So they won't be doing no shooting, and if they could, they'll only shoot straight ahead anyway.
Right.
All right, now the Yankees do their shooting.
Okay.
Root shoot and electrocute.
Can an unformed brigade shoot?
Yeah.
Deadbeat volley.
It's on a deadbeat volley.
With -2 to move, -1 for defense.
What was the range?
So,
Otherwise, fairly bleak.
so these 3-inch,
Do this again.
these rifles fired, rolled a 12, blew the colonel to pieces. They then rolled on the elephant test to cat's eyes and routed. And so, yeah.
Apart from that, it was pretty good.
What was
Darryl?
so that Darryl? The plan was obviously it was just to go hell bent for leather, damn the consequences and charge across.
Well,
while there's 2
we
brigades.
had to try and get onto you before you could get all your reserves.
Yeah, which is the common sense thing to do. And it just it failed spectacularly. Yeah.
Possibly, though, you could have done, excluding the hesitant brigades, you could have done fire combat to put the pressure
Our
there.
attacking centre was non-hesitant once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that's Central Brigade.
And once Darryl's brigade faltered, that was draining our
Ability to attack, because
ADC, so we were knackered from the second turn on. But that was still fun.
So by the halfway through turn 5, the Confederates conceded defeat. They'd thrown all caution to the wind. They'd gone hell bent for leather, and it failed, as we said before. It failed spectacularly. The Yankees never really were threatened in this game at all. But it was a great introduction to Pickett's charge. A lot of the guys had never played before, and I think it's testimony to the game that you can get a bunch of guys together with only one person who's actually played it a lot and still get a great game and have a lot of fun, and it'll all be over in less than 3 hours. So we'll wrap it up there. Remember, like, share and subscribe, and until I see you again, yibbuk way.